I've inherited one of your diseases, and I need to know what the solution is, Paul Thurrott.
Okay. What's
Turn on
problem of mine?
Turn on my computer upstairs. It's been great since, I don't know, ever.
Yep.
Teams won't load. You just get the splash screen.
Yep.
And it just sits.
I will need to forward you the fix for this. It basically involves going to one of those like hidden app folder directories, like ampersand or percentage sign app folder, whatever it is, and you just delete the contents of that folder. You have to make sure you crash all of Teams out because Teams is loaded in memory there first. Yep. So there are people who actually write scripts just to automate this process, like they'll run it every Monday or something.
Well, nothing says healthy like.
It's welcome to the world of Microsoft. By the way, your eye looks better.
Yeah, it is getting there. Like
don't open it too much. But when you just kind of look straight
don't scare the children.
Yeah, maybe wear an eye patch. I don't know.
It is
we're
getting
having a kid's birthday party this week. I don't know if you could be somewhere else.
The words, they hurt.
Oh boy,
it is getting there. We'll see. I'm going to the office next week. Hopefully,
I think sleeping in a bed by yourself is probably going to help.
Well, that's how we got into this jungle.
Yep.
Anyways, so Microsoft announced an interesting build. Two things yesterday. Interesting in this build. First, interesting thing. If you've run any of the insider builds and you're like, this system tray is trash, well, Microsoft has a solution for you. They are rolling back the system tray update to basically the launch version of Windows 11, basically Windows 10 version system tray.
Yeah, two things that are notable about this, and this came up really late yesterday, so I saw this and I thought I need to write something about this or discuss this in greater detail. So maybe this is a good place to do that. This is the second week in a row that Microsoft has issued a insider build that literally rolled back. My video froze here.
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's weird in Teams. Yeah. I think it's because someone.
It's a quality app. Just run the script again.
It's a single core app. There's not a lot of threading here. Anyway, sorry. On my screen it froze. This is the second week in a row where Microsoft issued an insider build where they actually decided not to include a feature that was going to be in the next version of Windows 11 and just rolled it back to the shipping version. The last one was the tablet mode, which they don't really call it tablet mode, but the tablet specific taskbar where, it changes the way the taskbar works, a more minimalist design, et cetera, et cetera. It sounds like an okay idea, whatever. And there are the second part, I should say, is there are indications that this version of Windows is wrapping up, right?
Yeah.
The watermark disappeared from the desktop, which, Microsoft's like, that doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, actually kind of does.
It does. Yep.
It literally does. And there's this window occurring where you can switch between dev and beta, which is something they offered, remember, last summer. And they never told anyone they were closing it. And then all these people got burned because they were like, well, I wanted to get out of dev, and now I'm stuck on the next version. So all indications is that if you don't do it before the next build and you're on dev, you might be stuck on dev and you'll have to do like a refresh. So that's really interesting to me because we're really late in the active development of new features for the next version of Windows 11. And yeah, I guess there could be surprises. I don't, who knows, but two of the features they just got rid of, it's really, this whole thing, doesn't it seem kind of slapdash to you? This whole thing, everything Windows 11 related has been like amateurish, and honestly, I think we've been struggling with this for years with Windows, frankly. It just seems like it's like, you're like, it can't get any worse. You're like, oh no, let's look at his Windows 11,
So
it's too bad.
I have a lot of thoughts on this because some of it impact like Stardock stuff. Cause we just invested a bunch of time to unwind what Microsoft had done to understand it. And like we were getting ready to ship some updates to like make things work great again. And then they're like, nope. And we're like, that frustration aside, pushing that down and not.
Maybe that's what they're doing. They're just keeping you busy.
Maybe. Here's the other thing. To your point, like they are wrapping up this build.
Right.
Historically, what we've seen is like a sign off sometime in June. Then they ship to OEMs by August so that they can get it on for the fall update or for the fall hardware. and then they'd ship to all of us in
right. That's
October.
true.
So, like, is what we're seeing now actually Sun Valley 2 or 22H2?
Or maybe we should call it Sun Valley 1.5 because honestly, it's not like there are any major new features, but I feel like the focus should have been on adding back functionality, the most needed functionality that they blew away when they released the first version. And I got to be honest, I don't see a lot of that.
Okay, so I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But let's say that functionality doesn't come with this release. Yeah. Why would they ever do it then?
Right. No, exactly.
Because typically we would look at this as like a service pack 1, like, if we're going back to XP days.
Okay, it's like, sorry about that.
We know these are the things that got dropped on the cutting room floor that we couldn't get shipped out. And if that stuff doesn't arrive in this release, in my opinion, that means they never intended for it to arrive.
All right, so this is not fully formed, but I'm in my brain.
Never stop this.
This is no reason not to just blurt it out like an idiot. Fire? No. Oh no, it's just something else. Sorry. In the old days, right, Windows would be around for 3 years-ish. It had this 5 to 10 year life cycle for support, mainstream versus extended. Putting something into a Windows version was serious,
Yeah.
Like you had to support that thing for 10 years, basically. It didn't mean you were going to update it all the time or whatever, but it's supported. The way that Windows servicing works now, a Windows 11, in this case, version is just kind of a baseline, right? Even from the version we got last October, there have been, improvements, additions, functional updates, small things, but they've added things, right? So I guess I'll just asterisk this kind of devil's advocate and say, I actually agree with you, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. The problem I have is that with the rushed release of the original version of Windows 11, they didn't have any sense of user feedback making it into the product at all. Like insiders were probably sending and saying, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do this." And like, yeah, thank you, And none of it appeared in October. None of it, not one. And if something appeared and you happened to suggest it, understand they were already doing it. Like you didn't impact that product. But now we've had, 6 months, or 9 months, I don't know, somewhere in there. There's feedback related things happening. None of it seems dramatic. And yeah, if you're not listening to people now, I mean, you've got this stat, Microsoft, that says this is the most well-received version of Windows ever from a quality perspective. I don't know if you went to like the monkey cage at the zoo and had them give them pencils or something and check by. I don't know who you, asked. I mean, like seriously, but okay, but I feel like they're holding that up and they're like, oh, we don't, why make any change? People love it, People love it. Why add complexity? And honestly, I do see both sides.
Sure.
In the sense that I appreciate it's hard to take something complex and make it simple because you have to get rid of functionality. Like you have to. And there's the kind of minimalist part of me that's like, yeah, I know you're biting off something you're taking a hit. It's hard. And you're going to get complaints, and maybe it's not as serious as we all make it out. I think there's a happy middle ground that we're not reaching.
I think it's that happy middle ground.
Yeah.
Because to your point, and I don't disagree with it. Like, hey, change is difficult. People don't like change. I mean, I literally make software for the company that brings back old stuff because people don't like change.
Right.
And progress can be difficult. But there's certain things that I think we can all agree on, like right-clicking on the taskbar. Maybe...
Yeah, does that hurt anybody to add a couple options there? I mean, does it hurt anybody?
Just put Task Manager in there, which is
and maybe there's other things. That's the one I always focus on. Maybe there are other things. I don't even know. But
either way, I don't know.
Yep, I don't know. I don't understand why I can't right click on an icon that you Microsoft have added to Windows 11 and unpin it. Like there's an inconsistency there. When you talk, like you have these designers and they're like, we want to make Windows better, Okay. But you've made it inconsistent. So if I right click an icon I added, there's an unpin from taskbar. But if I right click an icon you added, there's nothing.
Yep.
And that's basic, just anti-competitive behavior. That's not a better user experience. It's not more minimalist. It's not a better design. It's not anything other than making it hard on the user to do something they want to do. And that's not right. And it's also not consistent if you care about design. If you want to pretend that it's all about the design, it's not consistent. It's bad design. So that's, I don't know. I know this is stuff most people, anyway, normally our wives would not listen to this podcast. If they did, they would not understand this conversation. And if you actually tried to explain it in a way a normal person would understand it, they would be like, yeah, whatever, who cares? I don't even see that icon. I don't care about it.
So on the other side of Windows 11 Life, they did add something that I think I'm actually a fan of. So they added with this latest release, or I don't know how they're adding it, controller bar. So when you have an Xbox controller compared to your PC and you press the Xbox button, it's now going to pop up a thing called a controller bar. It allows you to jump into games you've previously played. Here's why I think that's really an interesting concept. Is this makes it a lot easier to put a high-end PC underneath your TV, sit down on the couch, you can then control it and get into your games directly from the couch, and it's a great little feature.
So maybe you'll know this off the top of your head because I don't game on a PC all that often. There's an expected behavior with an Xbox controller when you hit that Xbox button, which is the white circle that lights up, that it's going to bring up I think it's called the guide. And from the guide, you can do what you actually just described, which is go to different games and do other things. You can go into settings and do other stuff. What does it do in Windows 10 or Windows 11 today? Like what if you?
I don't know. I was actually looking to see if I had an Xbox controller sitting right here to pull it up.
I would imagine it brings up the game bar.
That would be my guess too, potentially.
So this bar it's called what? The controller bar?
Controller
is a
bar.
Feature like a bar that you add to the game bar. It's a part of the game bar. But I guess what you're saying is it basically emulates sort of what you would get on a console, which by the way is consistent and good design. So that's good. Yeah. I mean, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. I think I'm in favor of that. It's neat. Whatever. Like that's a good net ad.
Yep.
At the end of the day. So.
Yep.
Either way, we're not all negative people. I promise.
Well, maybe I was built this way, but I feel like circumstances have made it worse. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know. It is Friday. Anything else going on in the world? I think that's the sort of big.
No. So next week we should tell people we're going to be gone most of the week, right?
Yeah.
So you are going to Michigan for work on Tuesday.
Yep.
So we'll do a show on Monday, and that might be it for the week. Is that right? Yeah.
Might be because you're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico.
I mean, I can do the show from Mexico, but I'll maybe the following Monday because we fly home. I think it's the Tuesday after that, so we could probably do it a week from Monday as well.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I'll be in my empty apartment with no internet connection. It'll be hilarious. Well, hopefully I will be. I mean, who knows?
Jeez.